What is going on, everyone? This is episode 2 of Littleroot Lessons. As always, I'm your host, Carter Noble, joined by our fantastic co-host, Carl Wilkin. Carl, what's going on today, man?
Not a whole lot. Pretty excited to talk about Pokemon stuff again this week. We got a new segment and kind of dropped an old segment to just open ourselves up to talk about more unique stuff from our listening audience, which I'm very excited about.
So, as always, we have a show in 4 parts. Part 1 is going to be Team of the Week. This is where we get a team from our Discord server that we have users submitted teams and go over what they do and everything else specifically. Segment 2 is going to be Topic of the Week, where we have the top 32 results from the Malmo Open from Regionals. From this past weekend. Segment 3 is going to be what we're working on, which we're going to talk about a kind of spicy tech that I've been working on the last couple weeks for Draft League. And then segment 4, we have what's been good, which is where Carl is going to talk about this pretty sweet team that he's been working on the last several weeks too. So, jumping right into it.
Yeah.
So segment 1, we have Team of the Week. This is a super sweet team submitted by Zeno Verdo on Discord. We have Gmax Snorlax, Rabombi, Dusclops, Mudsdale, Gmax Hatterene, and Togekiss. Pretty stock Trick Room things with Dusclops and Hatterene both having access to Trick Room. The super spicy thing here is the Rabombi getting access to Speed Swap to make it where either Snorlax or Mudsdale just go over the top of your opponent.
Yep.
What do you think here, man?
I'm always a big fan of Trick Room. I've loved Trick Room since I started trying to play the game and play. I also just love Snorlax and Trick Room teams. So just being able to abuse Snorlax and anything is really good. Rabombi was on my list of things to play in Collinsville when I was playing Snorlax, but I swapped to Togekiss because Togekiss is just a little bit better.
Really good.
Yeah. Follow Me kind of does the same thing as Speed Swap. It's like you only need it once. Once you get off your belly drum, that's all you need it for. You don't really need speed after belly drum. You just need to get a fast belly drum, and then you just take off from there. But the tech of being able to go Speed Swap Mudsdale. Now this is scary because now you have high speed, high horsepower, and high speed Iron Head to just take out Togekiss or other potential problems to your team. I also like that Rabombi gets Pollen Puff to heal up Snorlax and Mudsdale if it needs to.
Also gets Helping Hand, which is so when either of your threats aren't good enough, you can just push them over the top with Helping Hand.
Yep. Also, Pollen Puff is damage. It's a bug type damaging move if it's not on a teammate. So that's actually super unique for it, because if you needed to Dynamax your Rabombi, if that's the situation you're in, you can Dynamax Rabombi and you have both coverage types still locked in, and it's not just a full support move. The Dusclops is pretty straightforward. It's Ally Switch, Nightshade, Trick Room, Will-O-Wisp, nothing crazy there. The Gmax Hatterene. I don't know how much I like having Gmax Hatterene over just regular Hatterene.
I think it's just pretty much an upgrade. Getting access to Gmax Smite is pretty great, and being able to just cause your opponent to potentially lose turns while hurting themselves is great. It gets that over, is it Starfall?
Starfall, which sets up Misty Terrain,
which is kind of whatever, if you want my honest opinion. So making it where they could potentially lose a critical turn to them being confused seems pretty great, if you want my honest opinion.
I just don't know how often we're going to Gmax this Hatterene over, say, our Mudsdale.
Over either of our other threats.
Or Snorlax. Like, those two kind of really want to be Dynamax so they can just buff the heck out of themselves, or just, in Snorlax's case, just have all the HP it could ever want so it can just keep laying out damage without abandon. So I don't see, like, why are we just, like, why do we want the Gmax? It's, like, just in case, but usually it's just, like...
It's basically... It's our back seat, basically. Same with, like, I've been using a lot of Butterfree, which we'll talk about later as well. I'm using Gmax Butterfree. I don't think I've ever clicked it, though. So, it's just kind of there in case you need to. That doesn't mean, like, it's plan number one.
Yeah.
So, this is super sweet, and, like... I was talking about on Discord this morning, Speed Swap seems really, really kind of sweet, like, as a whole. This morning I found out that Raichu gets access to it.
Yeah.
I learned this the hard way when I'm getting beat to death by a Snorlax that has base 150 speed or whatever the hell, Raichu's base speed is.
Mm-hmm.
It was sweet. I ended up winning that game, but it was... way closer than it needed to be. Had they just gone for, fake out and nuzzle like what you normally see Raichu doing, if that was their game plan, like, I would have been fine, but instead here they go, just making Snorlax an even bigger threat than it already is.
Exactly.
So I think that Speed Swap it works really well on these Trick Room teams like this, because it makes it where you don't have to use Trick Room to go over the top of the speed control. It makes it where Trick Room is accessible, but not always going to be game plan number one.
Yeah.
So having, like, against teams that are setting up Tailwind, yeah, you want Trick Room there because you want them to be punished for setting Tailwind. Whereas here, like, against stuff like Gmax Lapras, where they don't get, where they don't have Tailwind usually, you're just like, all right, well, I'm faster than you now, and I'm going to beat you up before you ever get to do your thing. Like, that's where Speed Swap, I think, excels. Is when you're playing these kind of mid-range battles where your teams are able to do multiple things, but speed isn't quite the most important thing. Where, like, being able to kill off one critical mon is the backbreaking moment of the game. Being able to do that before that mon ever gets to do something is pretty critical. So giving Mudsdale base how fast is Rabombi actually?
Rabombi's base speed is 124. Man,
that's fast.
Yeah.
That is real freaking fast.
Compared to Mudsdale's 35.
It definitely pushes Mudsdale over the top.
Yeah.
Making, like, obviously that's Mudsdale's one weak point is its speed.
Notably,
so just being able to ignore that
makes you faster than Inteleon. You're faster than Charizard. You're faster than Durant. Is there any other Pokemon that you're not faster than besides Dragapult?
I don't believe so. I think Dragapult is base 143.
Yeah. Oh, you're not faster than Barraskewda, unfortunately. But no one really plays Barraskewda anymore.
Yeah, luckily.
Or Weavile. Yeah, it's like, Celigor. You gotta watch out for those fast Celigors and Ninjasks. Gotta watch out for them.
Which, let's be honest for a second, how widely play are those?
Exactly. The sarcasm isn't getting picked up, I guess.
I got it. It was going
But, Jolteon. But we don't care about that.
Yeah, like, everything you're naming that's faster than it, outside of Dragapult, doesn't really see play. So having this sweet piece of tech of just going over the top of people is really awesome.
Notably, there's also nothing that ties with you. 124 is unique to Rabambi. So
that's also really sweet.
So everything slower than you is going to be slower than you as long as it's not like got weird investment numbers. Speed Swap sees EVs put into it off of Rabambi as well, right?
I'm assuming so. The way I'm assuming it works is it takes base speed. It takes your actual speed stat and switches them.
So a timid Rabambi is actually 176.
Good lord, that is fast.
So slap that on a Mudsdale or a Snorlax. You got one fast Pokemon.
For sure. So, anything else you want to touch on for Team of the Week here before we move on?
Notably, he shared it, and he's actually playing in a tournament this weekend.
Yeah, he's playing over in the Singapore Regionals, I believe is what it is.
Yeah.
So, really, really hoping they do well with it. This team seems pretty good right now. I think Trick Room has been kind of underrated the last several weeks just because of how good how playable the new mons are, and people have been working on them and just kind of pushing old stuff that is good off to the side to work on new stuff.
Yeah, you want to see what's good so you can go back to your old stuff and make sure you have plans for with your old team for the new stuff. But I found out the best in my time that I've been playing. It's I found the best way is just take the rental team, play the rental team, figure out what makes it good, go back to my team, make changes here to try and have a little bit of a better edge against it, go back and play said rental team, and then I usually end up being able to have a closer match or end up beating it. So that's nice. It's a nice little thing to just do every once in a while.
So for those of you who are wanting to get your team on the show, we have our Discord server. Feel free to join it. In there, we have a room called Team of the Week Submissions. Just post your team in there, and you can leave a little bit of tidbit about what it's doing and what makes it unique to you and everything else. So I know that's something that you were talking about earlier in the Discord, earlier in the week. It's just how Pokemon is so drastically different compared to Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon TCG, where you don't have quote-unquote net decking, because it makes it really hard to just be, well, this is the team we're playing, I am not going to change actual nothing about it.
Yeah, there's no this is what you're set on. Say Snorlax has to be these 4 moves, this stats, nothing can change. Now, granted, Snorlax has to have 244 HP for Gluttony to trigger, because otherwise he has an odd number of HP and Gluttony won't trigger. But, his 4 moves don't all have to be the same between all of your Snorlaxes. Notably, Zito's Snorlax has Darkest Lariat, Facade, Protect, and Belly Drum. Whereas the one I played in Collinsville, I dropped Protect for high horsepower because I'm almost always G-maxing this thing. Belly Drum's going to be Protect and is going to be Max Guard when I'm G-max, and my goal was to just output as much damage as possible. Well, his is able to play outside of being just a G-max threat, so having Protect on it makes a little bit more sense.
So, I mean, that's just... It's awesome to be able to say that, well, I took this base team and I changed X things about it. Because, I mean, I've done that with every team I've worked on in this game so far, where, the original team I was working on was Gyarados Raichu, and very quickly, dropped two or three of the Mons and, replaced those, and, next thing you know, I have, the same core of Gyarados Raichu, but, the supporting cast is completely different.
Yeah.
So, it's being able to piece together multiple different things based on what you like, what you don't like, what weaknesses and what counterplay you need to be adjusted into those last slots.
Mm-hmm.
So it's super unique to something like this that I think is really well done. You know, where you can have a favorite mon that, you know, has always been good and like you can continue doing it, or it's just been like tier 2.5, tier 3 playable, but you know, in Pokemon that's still good. Like you can play stuff that's not completely on the radar and it still perform like you want it to.
Yeah.
Which I mean we're going to talk about later with my Pangoro team I've been working on. So, you know, it's just a lot of different things that have been going on that make Pokemon unique as a game, and that uniqueness is what I personally love about the game.
Agreed.
So moving on to topic number 2 of the week, we have results from the Malmo Regional Championships this past weekend. This was March 9th, I believe. The 7th and 8th.
Yeah, the 7th and 8th, because the 9th was a Monday.
So, I'm assuming we're going to talk top 16 like we did for Collinsville?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Because we are on Victory Road. They have top 32 teams posted here. To the surprise of no one, out of all the teams, a whopping 52% of them played Togekiss. Togekiss is the most played mon in Series 3 so far. And
I can't remember if that's down or up from Collinsville.
I believe that's up. I believe Collinsville had 40-something%.
Man, Togekiss is just taking off then, huh?
Togekiss is good. I know Zeno, he originally posted on Reddit and was asking for team suggestions and never really got anything from the Reddit post, so he posted it in the Discord, and he had like 6 questions I think on it, and I went through and gave a detailed response to every single one of them like he was wanting. And one of the things he was asking about is, should I just be playing Togekiss? And my short answer was yes, it's the best thing to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
The detailed answer is yes, it adds speed control if you want. It adds unique ability to be able to follow me so you can set up Snorlax. It just does a lot for your team if you want to be able to do that. So, you know, there's a reason Togekiss is as widely played as it is right now.
Yep. It is justified.
And for the life of me, I can't find the results from Collinsville.
Well, anyway. Second most used Pokemon is no surprise probably to anyone who played in the VGC before Sword and Shield meta started. Incineroar. Just had to come back. Big Cat is back. At just under 35%, 56 total out of the top, out of the all 126 Master Division players. So it's not terrible numbers for a Series 3 Pokemon. This thing, like the fact that it has Intimidate, it's Fake Out, it's Snarl, and Parting Shot is the big one. Being able to
Parting Shot is the new addition that is kind of making Incineroar just widely played everywhere.
Like being able to go back without having to use a swap, being able to just like do something with your turn, but still bring Incineroar back, put out a different mon, being able to do that, all that team swaps back and forth is actually really cool. Which when I was getting into doubles, I told wasn't really like a popular thing to do. I think I've seen a ton of switching in all my matches that I've been playing now that Incineroar is like viable.
Mm-hmm. Like it didn't used to be a big thing, but now that like we have a viable U-turner / parting shot, like something that's able to consistently switch in and out, like it's kind of making the Incineroar just do everything it's wanted to do, which I know last week we talked about how underwhelming, I guess is the right word, how underwhelming Incineroar has been. And in reality, like looking over the top 8 here, it looks like we have 2 Incineroars in top 8.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I mean, not widely played. I mean, that's a quarter of the field there, but when people were anticipating this format, they were talking, oh, Incineroar is going to be the best thing you can possibly do, and well, in reality, it's not really a good check to Togekiss, and Togekiss just eats it up.
Yep.
So when the best Mon is better than it makes it hard to overcome that spot.
Also, when the Mon just underneath it in play percentages is also better than it. I expect Incineroar's play to actually fall down even more, probably down below 20% by the time we get into Series 4, which is in May. I would expect Incineroar to see probably about 20% meta share, and then probably wouldn't be any higher than that. Notably, the third most played Pokemon is Lapras, which we talked about last week.
Mm-hmm.
Actually didn't make a very big push into top 8. It got 2 in the top 8, and then I think another one or another 3 in top 16.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, having only 49 Laprases in the 62 players, you figured that since it's it sets up a Aurora Veil super easy. It's super duper bulky. It's just it's got freeze dry, so it's not scared of other water types, which is cool.
Well, not only does it have freeze dry, it also gets Thunderbolt. So freeze dry doesn't hit opposing Laprases or super effective, but Thunderbolt does.
Yeah.
So if you come down to a speed tie, you have a chance to be able to deal with theirs before they can deal with yours. But
also, you can set up Electric Strain so you don't fall asleep,
which is critically important when Togekiss is running around everywhere putting people to sleep with Yawn.
Yep.
It's well, what if instead we didn't?
So
yeah, I've seen people playing Psychic on Lapras, and I think in that third coverage spot, I personally like Thunderbolt way more, just because it helps you deal with Togekiss, which I mean you really don't have a problem with anyway. You have coverage for opposing Laprases. You have coverage for just looking through the rest here. You get access to deal with Milotic. You have Freeze Dry for Rotom and Gastrodon. You get take your pick for Jellicent. Thunderbolt deals with Gyarados very cleanly. Thunderbolt is way better against these top performing Mons compared to Psychic. Looking at the top handful of most played Mons here, Psychic hits one of them for super effective, which is exactly Venusaur, and doesn't touch Incineroar or Tyranitar. So you're losing pretty big percentage points there.
Notably, it hits the fifth played most Pokemon at Malmo, which is Conkeldurr.
Oh, I forgot Conkeldurr. You're right.
So it hits Conkeldurr, which had 43 in the entire 162, just over 25%. So Psychic there is it's a meta call. If you're expecting a lot of Conkeldurr and fighting types, Psychic's probably better. But if you're expecting Togekiss and Sleep and other bulky waters, probably just want to run Thunderbolt Freeze Dry set.
Yep. And that's what I've been working on with Lapras. Is I've primarily been playing Thunderbolt, but you are definitely correct with the potential rise of Conkeldurr. Having access to Psychic seems very, very good.
Yeah. The other Pokemon, the other Mon in the room that we were expecting to be a little bit higher meta share but wasn't, was Venusaur.
Mm-hmm.
Venusaur only was just barely eked ahead of Conkeldurr in number of plays at 44. I think it only got it didn't even break top 8, and I think it only got 2 in top 16, which happened to be number 15 and number 16.
Yeah, I very quickly going through, I don't see a single Sun team in top 8.
Yeah, there's no actual Sun.
It's crazy looking on Smogan they had the rise and fall of the new Mons in singles, and Venusaur very quickly went from not played to OU, but Torkoal, which made Venusaur go to OU, dropped down to UU.
Which is surprising. You mentioned this earlier in the week to me about a trick room weakness policy Incineroar thing, and if you're Dynamaxing your Incineroar to just get as much damage as possible, you get to run Max Flare, which sets up Sun for your Venusaur. Also, from my testing is since I'm playing Alola Ninetales a lot on Showdown right now, and having your weather setter set the weather before the game starts can actually be a hindrance. Because then they can just swap into their weather setter and just negate your weather. So I'm actually I like the set of I need to set my weather up on not the first turn of the game, especially for Venusaur, because you're not just going to run up with Venusaur and just smash everybody immediately, because that's just super predictable and your opponent can play and you can just play into your opponent's hands that way. But being able to go Trick Room, Bulldoze, proc my weakness policy, Incineroar does its thing for a little while. Oh, Trick Room's over. Okay, here's Venusaur. Now that Sun's up. Venusaur gets 2 good turns of Sun, but that's all Venusaur really ever needs is 1 or 2 turns to just sleep powder you and then smash you.
Yep, that's exactly what Venusaur needs. It needs 1 good turn. It needs 1 good turn to make itself worthwhile.
Yep. And like we said earlier, rounding out the top 5 Mons played is Conkeldurr at 43 plays, which I'm not totally 100% surprised by that. Conkeldurr has just kind of been slowly creeping up because it's just priority plus Drain Punch plus close combat plus you got flying coverage and Ice Punch or Thunder Punch or Rock Slide. You got Fire Punch if you need that kind of fire coverage and don't have a Firemon on your team. Conkeldurr just does really good things for minimal investment. It's just here's the fighting type. Just insert it.
And interesting, you have a lot of teams are built on the fire, water, grass triangle as its core, and conveniently just kind of thinking out loud here for a second, not trying to take a big step off, but a lot of teams are built on this fire, water, grass triangle, and when you have Incineroar, Lapras, Venusaur, those 3 don't play well most of the time together. I really zoned out there, man. I'm sorry.
You just lost your train of thought.
Not only that, but I zoned out, so I didn't really hear what you were saying, and that thought just popped into my head, so I just kind of just jumped back in where I wanted to.
Yeah, but building off that, a lot of the cores now are Fairy Steel Fighting or Fairy Dragon Steel. Those are the other 3-man cores, and that's where I think what I was saying was insert fighting Pokemon here. Well, Conkeldurr does a real good job of just being insert fighting Pokemon here.
And not only that, it's just
seeing more play.
Conkeldurr seems easily the best fighting Pokemon right now. I've personally always been a fan of Hitmontop, but looking at it, Hitmontop just doesn't do what you want it to do as a fighting mon. Its pressure just isn't enough to deal with opposing steel types like you need it to, or opposing rock types like Rhyperior or Tyranitar. You just don't hit hard enough to be able to deal with them consistently.
Yeah, you're trying to be this fake out Mach Punch, Bullet Punch thing with close combat, and when fake out isn't good, you're not that great, and then Hitmontop only has 100 base attack?
I don't even think it's that high, to be honest with you.
95. I was close.
Yeah,
95.
I knew it wasn't high.
95 base attack, so that's actually just marginally terrible compared to some of the other fighting types we've been seeing, like Passimian. Passimian is 120. Conkeldurr I know is 140. Surfetched is 135, I think.
That sounds right.
Yeah, 135. So it's just like there are so many other fighting Pokemon that are better, and the ones that can learn learn the priority Mach Punch are probably going to be the ones that are like the best. And Conkeldurr hits all three of those flags right there in a row. This is really good attack. Has Mach Punch. Is actually kind of just like kind of bulky, so it just sits there and just can tank damage forever. The fact that it can be Flame Orb Guts or Assault Vest Iron Fist, so you don't have no idea how much damage you're going to see from it, like all at the same time. But you're like I think Iron Fist, Mach Punch, Assault Vest
does a lot. It does a lot.
And then you just sit there and you just keep doing that. But you ready to get into the actual teams here?
Yeah, man. Let's get up and start working through this top 16 some.
So number 1 is something very similar to what we talked about at the start of the show. It is literally Hard Trick Room with Hatterene, and instead of our Bombi, we're playing Butterfree, Indeedee, Dusclops, Torkoal, and our other abuser is Rhyperior.
Yep.
Thoughts on Rhyperior over Snorlax?
I think Rhyperior is strictly worse right now just by the presence of Lapras. And Lapras hits Rhyperior really, really hard. Like I'm 97% sure this thing just dies to any special attack that's super effective.
Yeah. It's kind of what I was up to.
That being said, like, Rhyperior also gets Brick Break, which if you're setting up Trick Room, can deal with your Lapras screens. It's like, if you protect into Brick Break, their screens away, like, you can probably deal with their Lapras before it ever gets to do anything.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, it got to set up screens, but then you dealt with their screens, and you lost a little bit of health on your Rhyperior, because it, obviously went into it, but yeah, it can deal with it pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
But again, Snorlax also gets access to Brick Break.
Yeah, and doesn't have terrible special defense.
When you're looking at the Lapras-sized problem in the room, one of these seems like a better check to it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not completely sold on Rhyperior being good, but like it's been a dominant Trick Room threat for quite a while. And when you're pairing it with Dusclops to then be able to switch in and bulldoze it to set up weakness policy, that seems, good. The problem is like you're taking a turn off to switch into Rhyperior to then bulldoze it, so you're getting one less turn of Trick Room with Rhyperior up.
Yeah.
I also am not really a fan of Torkoal in Trick Room right now, just because I don't really think Torkoal's the threat you want. Again, when we're comparing it to Snorlax or Mudsdale or Conkeldurr or insert other Trick Room abuser here.
Delmise.
Yeah, like Torkoal is like the special variant of that, but Torkoal does one thing and it does that one thing okay. When Venusaur is as widely played as it is, I don't like setting up Incidental Sun.
Yeah. I agree with
and that. And Torkoal's other abilities are all super medium, if I remember correctly.
White Smoke and Shell Armor. So no critical hits and stats can't be dropped.
Yeah, I'm good on those. I'll stick to Drought.
Notably, Butterfree does a similar job to Rabombi in the Team of the Week, but minus the Speed Swap. Instead, we swap Speed Swap for a Sleep Powder, which with Compound Eyes is 100%.
And is really, really sweet.
It's really, really fast. It's not Rabombi fast, but it's fast. I also like having the Indeedee Hatterene set up. It's almost impossible to not get Trick Room off through Hatterene Indeedee Follow Me. Like
it takes a lot. It takes a lot of spread damage to be able to be able to deal with both.
Yeah, you got to be able to hit both before that Trick Room goes off, because that Hatterene on the back side will OHKO
is
something.
A threat.
It will OHKO.
That's the best part about Hatterene, is it's a threat on its own that also sets itself up.
Yeah.
Like, not only is it good for Trick Room because it sets it up, but it's also a Trick Room abuser. So I'm a big fan of Hatterene in Trick Room. I really don't have anything else to say about Trick Room as a whole. I know we talked about it for quite a bit there at the intro, and we're talking about it quite a bit here, but overall, I don't know how I feel about it right now in this point in the meta. It seems like it could potentially be very good if people shrug it off and forget about it, and that's when it's posed to make a comeback. But as of right now, I'm going to be playing it. Like, I think Trick Room is good, but I don't know if it's because I want it to be good or if it's actually because it is good. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, makes total sense.
So, and I mean, again, like, we're not done talking about Trick Room. I have plenty to talk about with it here shortly, so.
Yep.
But what do we got here? What else you got to say, man?
Nothing really about Trick Room. I'm just like looking over the rest of these, trying to see if there's any like other Trick Room teams that we can just like highlight before we have to get to them. And it's hard to tell what a Trick Room team actually is anymore. They're real good at hiding it.
And you just have to very quickly be able to place what is a Trick Roomer. Like knowing that list of playable Trick Roomers being Jellicent, Dusclops, Hatterene, Clink gets it, which like I was gonna mess around with in Draft League and very quickly realized that I don't really like Clink.
Clink is a good one if you're running Pincurchin as your abuser.
Let's see what else gets it. Whimsicott technically does.
Mimikyu.
I always forget Mimikyu does.
Gengar gets it.
Which Gengar is not particularly good for Trick Room.
Yeah, you don't want your Gengar using Trick Room. Usually, if the Gengar knows Trick Room, it's to stop just like to reset Trick Rooms, which is kind of okay.
Let's see other playable mons. Chandelure.
Yep, that's another one that's imprisoned Trick Room sets, usually to counter Trick Room.
Yep. Nothing else really pops to mind as like usable for Trick Room. I think we hit the big ones.
Yeah, those are usually all the big ones. Male Indeedee gets it, but like,
Huh. I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, so female Indeedee is the follow me redirection, whereas male Indeedee is the one that actually gets to use After You and Trick Room.
Mm-hmm.
So that their move pulls are weird.
I knew about After You. I didn't realize they got Trick Room though.
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, Gothitelle. Gothitelle is another one that.
Yeah, that's another big one because Shadow Tag plus Trick Room.
Yep.
Plus Hypnosis.
Very quickly, you want to talk about other Trick Room teams. Down here in 5th looks like Trick Room with the Dusclops, Conkeldurr, Incineroar set up here.
Yes.
Like this looks like your
soft Trick Room.
Yeah, it looks like your weakness policy Incineroar is what this is going to be doing. It also has Alchemy and Togekiss Lapras as well. So like this seems like it's particularly kind of set up to be able to abuse Trick Room pretty well. And like if it doesn't want to set up, like if Trick Room isn't good, then you just get to do like speed control with Togekiss and Max Airstream and be able to like decorate stuff with Alchemy.
Yep.
So this seems like another really kind of sweet take on soft Trick Room.
Yeah, I like it. Getting away from Trick Room, we have Sand, which I guess kind of just like disappeared from Collinsville and then popped its head back up at Malmo.
Yeah, it kind of fell off the face of the earth after winning It won the regionals before Collinsville, which I can't remember where it was. And
damn, can't
so
remember.
People anticipated it being good, so it just kind of fell off the face of the earth for a week, and here it is again, Tyranitar rearing its ugly face and everything. So,
yep.
Tyranitar is really good. Like, Tyranitar and Excadrill are both playable mons on their own, and then you get to pair them together, and it's just absurd.
Yep. And then you just throw Togekiss in the mix, and it's just insane. That trio is a really good strong core. And then you just need to add in a couple other coverage Pokemon. In this case, we added Arcanine as our fire type instead of, say, Incineroar. We added Rotom Wash as our water type and just happenstance electric coverage. And then our Grassmon is one that you don't really see very often, Serena.
Excuse me while I go look up Serena.
So Serena's really cool. Queenly Majesty is a really unique ability. I don't know if you know what that does.
It prevents the opponent from using moves which increased speed priority on this Pokemon or its allies.
Yeah, so it's Psychic Terrain.
I didn't have to look it up. Why would you say that?
Notably, its hidden ability is also Sweet Veil, which prevents sleep. And then Leaf Guard, but we don't care about Leaf Guard.
Yeah, Leaf Guard's literally whatever.
We're mainly interested in Queenly Majesty for the most part, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it prevents you from getting Fake Out. This also prevents Prankster from working, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems real A+.
It is actual factual Psychic Terrain.
Yeah, that's sweet.
So that's really cool tech there. Granted, it does nothing in the face of the person setting up Psychic Terrain. It doesn't matter. But
well, one of the big reasons I actually really like it here, and to kind of talk about it for a second of why they're playing Arcanine instead of Incineroar when people are anticipating Incineroar just being better. They already have a pretty big weakness to fighting with Tyranitar and Excadrill.
Yeah.
So being able to shut off like an additional weakness by not playing Incineroar is correct here. And past that, like it's shutting off Mach Punch from Conkeldurr. So having Queenly Majesty is pretty important actually.
Mm-hmm.
Plus this thing can hit like a freight train if I remember correctly.
Yeah, its attack is really high.
120?
Yeah, it's
Good
got
Lord.
decent attack for sure.
I'm really interested in seeing this set.
I can probably tell you right now it's Power Whip, Play Rough, and probably some utility moves and like maybe Taunt or something.
Huh. It gets high jump kick too.
Yeah.
This is kind of sweet. I'm kind of in.
Just kind of.
I don't know if it's good, man, but I'm kind of interested. I'll have to look into this some more. This is real sweet. Any what else you got for Sand, man? Anything to comment here?
It's Sand. We've seen it a bunch of times. It does its thing really, really well.
It's still good.
I know why it lost to the number one, because had number one had Snorlax instead of Rhyperior as their abuser,
it would have been much worse. Yeah,
it'd have been much worse for the Trick Room player. But because it's Rhyperior,
specifically because you're playing against Sand, Rhyperior just stands out even more because now it has even more bulk to be able to fight through.
Exactly.
Moving on here to third place, we have Dragapult, Mimikyu, Snorlax, Togekiss, Rotom Wash, and
Aegislash. Yeah.
This is one that you're in for. Let's talk about Aegislash, shall we?
Aegislash, I've been trying for a very long time to get Aegislash actually to be decent, and I haven't quite figured it out yet. He does okay like as a hybrid sweeper. He does okay with like Shadow Sneak, King Shield stuff. The fact that your Dynamax doesn't change your form when you Max Guard or your King Shield and Dynamax doesn't change your form is what makes him bad.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
actually didn't know that.
Yeah, he does not change forms while he's Dynamaxed. he is stuck in whatever form he's in. So your attack won't swap you to attack form. Your defense won't swap you into defense form.
Huh.
So
that's actually really interesting because like it lets you have more bulk when you Dynamax if you're in shield form, but like then you're also losing out on being able to smash hella hard with your blade form.
Just FYI, when you're in shield form, your attack is like I think it's like 50.
Yeah, it's real low.
It's terrible.
So like you obviously want to be able to. You want to be able to be in blade form, but then your defenses are awful, and
you just die in one hit to random
anything.
Yeah. They don't even have to be super effective. So trying to walk the fine line of what Pokemon, what is his role in the meta, and what does he do very well, is hard to figure out. What I found out from most of my playing is that he's just a really good Shadow Sneak, Shadow Claw, Iron Head, like King's Shield. Here is Aegislash. He's here to just be annoying. He can proc this weakness policy over here if he needs to, but he's just here to be here. And you can throw a Focus Sash on him, and you can just like do mind games and protect and just stall out turns if you need to with him. But the fact that he made there's two in top 8, two Aegislashes in top 8, and it's pretty much the exact same team. Granted, we don't know actual moves and everything, but I'm 95% certain that this is the same team.
If it's not, I'd be very surprised. And interesting note, like they have Mimikyu Snorlax, which is very good in the last several games, over the last several years, to be honest with you, because like Mimikyu gets Trick Room and is really hard to deal with on its own because its first attack is basically negated.
Yep. You get to pop that disguise and.
I can see if they ended up playing Sand in the quarterfinal or the semifinals, like Mold Breaker's really good against Mimikyu, so like they just don't get to set up with it. So
yeah,
like there could be a chance that that's how. I would have to see the bracket to be sure, but like Excadrill could have just ran the top 8 because it could have gone, Mimikyu in the semifinals into Mimikyu in the quarterfinals. Other way around, I'm sorry. The quarters into the semis, and then, next thing you know, you have a place in the finals. But it definitely seems like Dragon Ball... I've talked about it so many times, man. Dragon Ball's so good.
Yep.
I wish more people were putting up results with Dragon Ball, because I think it's really I think it's moderately underrated for how good it is. It can do everything.
It can do everything.
And that's why it's sweet. So, that covers 3rd and 6th.
Yeah.
We kind of talked about 5th, which also is in 7th. The 5th and 7th place teams are identical on Mons. So really, in actuality, we had about 4 teams to actually talk about here in top 8.
Yeah. Notably, one of the unique ones here got probably the most interesting Mons out of the top 8.
What do you mean? Were you not expecting Torcat to be in 4th place here?
Right? So that's where I was just like, is Arcanine, what's better, Arcanine or Torcat?
I don't know.
Eviolite Torcat or Arcanine with an actual item on it.
I mean, they kind of fill a similar role, to be honest with you. It just depends on, what kind of role you're wanting to be filled, because Arcanine can also be, a moderately effective, bulky attacker, whereas Torcat doesn't really have the strength to back up the bulky attacker role.
No, Torcat actually does a real good job of just being bulky, intimidate that you want, because it still gets parting shot. So you can sit there. What's cool is you teach it overheat, and you just overheat, parting shot, back out, come back in, intimidate, overheat, parting shot, back out. You do this really cool Rotom Heat impression with Volt Switch.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not the bulkiest thing on the planet, but it's decent. It's decent bulk when you get going, when you get invested into it. Like, if you go max defense and, like, max HP, you've got 172 HP and 102 defense without, like, nature investment and whatnot. So, it's not terrible.
Yeah, it's pretty decent, like, in all actuality.
You could probably split up and go, like, max HP, or like 244 HP, 140 defense, 124 special defense. So you get you have 171 HP, you have 88 defense and 86 special defense, and then Eviolite kicks in.
So that puts you about 140,
which for a fire type that is not going to be on the field for very long,
that's pretty bulky.
That's pretty bulky. Like, they have to double into it to actually do something to it, and the trick there is you got to be able to outspeed this thing first. Without
is Torcat faster than Incineroar?
Oh yeah,
it is. Okay, I wasn't 100% sure, but I figured it was.
So without investment, if you go timid, you get 121.
Good lord!
You are a very fast kitty cat.
Yeah, that's an understatement.
So you do overheat, parting shot. You can do fake out stuff, and then like you get like one other move. Usually, you can do like Will-O-Wisp, like Arcanine does. You can do, like if you wanted to, you could do taunt to just like get people, because if they're expecting the fake out and then you just taunt them, then it's just like whatever. You could also teach it Swagger and like pair it with a Mudsdale and just like own tempo Mudsdale Swagger things.
Yeah, that seems sweet. I don't know if it's particularly good, but
it's probably not very good, but it actually seems really cute. I personally would probably do Will-O-Wisp because you just want to neutralize as much damage as possible. But yeah, this set actually doesn't look terrible. Like while I'm sitting here looking at it, it does not look bad at all.
I've played against Torcat a couple different times on Showdown and on the ladder. And every time I've seen it, I'm just like, I don't quite understand what you're doing. And then I play it, I'm like, oh, yeah, And then, it kills like 2 Mons and neutralizes a third. I'm just like, oh, okay. And then, next time it comes up, I'm like, I can't remember what this thing does. So you would think eventually it'd be ingrained into my mind of, hey, this thing's really powerful, actually. You need to be prepared for it. But here we are.
Yeah. Outside of this Torcat, the rest of the team is Durant, Tyranitar. There's a Milotic. I know you're a real big fan of Sylveon.
Sylveon's really sweet, man.
And then Gothitelle.
This is a team I can actually get really behind. It plays a lot of Mons I like.
What I'm looking at here is I was expecting like a Gravity user on this team because I saw Milotic Gothitelle. Both learn both learn Hypnosis, and it's like really good. Plus, Gravity's really good for Durant when you're when you're not Dynamaxed, because Hustle.
Mm-hmm.
Which we'll get into Gravity and Hustle at the very end, because that's pretty much what the team is based on, is using Gravity and abusing the heck out of that. But I like this team. The more I look at it, the more I like it. I'm just trying to I don't know what the sets are for this Gothitelle, so I'm interested in that. The rest of the Mons I could probably figure out pretty quickly. Just like we did with that Torcat real quickly. It's just it was not hard once you start playing with it to figure out oh, this is probably what it's doing. This is probably what it's good at. So that's kind of nice being able to do that and figure this out. Like you said, we talked about the fifth place team pretty much.
Talked about 6. We haven't. Well, we've kind of covered 7th place here. 7th is pretty close to
the
5th place team, but there's a very big noticeable difference here. Instead of Alchemy, they're playing Roserade. So they get that fire, water, grass triangle going on here with Lapras, Incineroar, and Roserade.
What the heck does Roserade do for us?
That's a wonderful question, man.
It gets Worry Seed, but are we worried about that? Are we worried about sleep? It makes your ability Insomnia.
No, I'm pulling up Roserade as a whole. I just want to see what this thing can actually do.
It's got decent special attack, decent special defense. It's kind of bulky in that sense.
It has a moderately impressive shiny. I know that does stuff for you.
It gets Technician.
I actually didn't know that.
So you can Technician bullet seed people.
Technician makes Mega Drain still worse than Giga Drain.
Yep.
It makes... Just kind of looking through here. I'm not really seeing much that makes it where you would want to ever run Technician on it.
It's the Pin Missile and Bullet Seed, probably.
Yeah, that's kind of medium.
Weather Ball.
Sleep Powder. Sleep Powder as an egg move. Life Dew as an egg move.
One of the only Pokemon that gets Toxic.
It's also, like, pretty good on special defense, too, at 105.
Yeah.
105 special defense, 125 special attack, and a base speed of 90. So, like, it's not awful in the speed department either.
We could set up Leech Seed and, like, Toxic and just stall people out, maybe.
We could do that. It's not... There's, like, a 0% chance this thing's carrying Vest.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Incineroar and Conkeldurr on this team, it definitely doesn't have Vest. It probably has Black Sludge on it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Give it Poison Point, just poison people back and forth.
It could also be Natural Cure in the event that, like, they Will-O-Wisp you or whatever you can swap out.
I'd say if they're Will-O-Wisp in this Rosa raid, my opponent's got a big problem because...
Or even, like, it becomes basically immune to Yawn, too, because of Natural Cure. Yeah. I don't know, man, but it's... If someone knows what this Rosa raid is doing, please let me know, because I've always liked it, and I want to know what the hell it's doing so I can abuse it.
So hit us up on Twitter.
Please hit us up on Twitter with what this Rosa raid is
LR
doing.
Lessons.
I want more sweet tech in my life, so... let's see, what else here? Rounding out the top 8, we have... Pretty sweet team here, to be honest with you.
We have 2 triangles, pretty much.
So, the first triangle here is going to be Charizard, Inteleon, and Rotom Mow. And then your second triangle is going to be Grimmsnarl, Gengar, and Conkeldurr.
Yep.
Alright, so we don't have G-Max Gengar.
No.
This thing probably is carrying Specs?
Most likely.
So if it's carrying Specs, then Expert Belt or Expert Belt's probably on the Inteleon.
Mm-hmm.
Which leaves Life Orb on Charizard.
Yep. Rotom probably has a Citrus Berry. Conkeldurr can have Vest or Flame Orb. Mm. And then Grimmsnarl is most likely Light Clay.
Just put some bulk up for everybody.
Yep. Especially for Gengar. Gengar kind of needs it.
Gengar needs a lot of help, man.
Not having Levitate anymore is just killed Gengar's play.
I'm not upset by that, for the record. Levitate made that thing really powerful.
But yeah, probably a G-Max Zard. Inteleon does cool things. Rotom Mow is actually probably my favorite Rotom's form.
I've personally always liked Wash, but I don't think Wash is the best.
Yeah. Again, Conkeldurr does really good things.
Mm-hmm.
In this team specifically, because we don't have, outside of Charizard, we don't have a real good way to deal with Steel types. Or Rock types, besides, he covers, he helps cover Charizard's weakness. He helps covers Grimmsnarl's weakness. It's he gets he gets good coverage moves for in the form of Ice Punch and Thunder Punch if we need it. So that's kind of nice.
He also Drain Punch is really powerful as well. Giving him a sense of recovery. I don't think that's actually something we've talked about at all, is having recovery on your Conkeldurr. My biggest problem with Conkeldurr is it's just weak to Togekiss.
He doesn't get OHKO'd by Togekiss unless it's like Max Starfall. And that's if he's like Flame Orb and not Assault Vest.
Does Airstream not OHKO?
Nope. If he has got that Assault Vest on, he is actually really bulky.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Alright, you might be able to talk me into some Conkle during my life.
Good. Moving out of the top 8 into the top 16, we'll kind of fire these off really quick. We have a Garachu team that's playing Togekiss, Durant, Milotic, Raichu, Gyarados set, and then Hydreigon as like a coverage mon. Notably, no way to like really increase Durant's like speed of any kind to make sure you just hit everything. But
yeah, the biggest problem is like your only speed control is Togekiss with Max Airstream.
Milotic has Icy Wind.
Oh, you're right. You are correct. But if you're max Airstreaming with Togekiss, that means you're not Dynamaxing your Durant, which makes Durant much worse.
So we'll probably just follow me with Togekiss being a bulky support because we got plenty of damage between Durant, Gyarados, and Hydreigon. There is plenty of damage between those 3 mons.
Yeah, and then your support of Togekiss, Raichu, Milotic. Yeah, I can get down with this. This is kind of sweet. Hydreigon, I want it to be good, man. I really do.
Again, it has the glaring Togekiss problem. This one will also survive a Max Starfall when it's got an Assault Vest on, but it's just barely.
I actually didn't know that.
It is minimal. It's not even worth it. It's just like you might as well just run Focus Sash. Because it'll do the same exact thing.
Might as well have Sash on it.
It's just the same exact thing. Moving down to 10th, we got the team of Corviknight, Tyranitar, Dragapult, Incineroar, Gastrodon, and Sylveon. So it's
this one is unique. This one's kind of all over the place, to be honest with you.
I'm assuming Corviknight is Tailwind, Bulk Up, Roost, Brave Bird, probably.
Is it Bulk Up or Iron Defense?
Bulk Up. That's a plus attack, plus defense.
Oh, you're right.
You 100% Bulk Up instead of Iron Defense. You can Iron Defense if you don't need it, but with what our damage team dealers look like, because there's like a Gastrodon, and Incineroar, and a Sylveon, I'm assuming this is probably Bulk Up over Iron Defense, just for a little bit of extra damage throughout the team.
Honestly, I could see this Dragapult being max special. Like, I could see this Dragapult being a damage producer here. Most likely what they're doing is they probably... The Sylveon's Pixelate, and they're probably triggering
Weakness
policy on either Tyranitar or Dragapult with Quick Attack.
Yeah.
And just smashing people.
That's probably their plan.
Like, if they lead Sylveon Dragapult, they're probably just going to smash you.
Yeah. Because that Dragapult is... There's nothing going to outspeed that Dragapult except another Dragapult.
Or, if you have Tailwind or whatever. But, yeah, you are getting smashed.
Yeah.
You are losing a Mon.
For sure.
And, even if this Dragapult's support, then, they get to do the same thing with Tyranitar and still smash face.
Plus, we get Sand.
Yeah. Which pairs really well with Gastrodon and Corviknight.
Yep. That's a nice little triangle there. With your you have this pseudo Sand team that's kind of hidden, but it's still there. 11th place is...
What is this? Is this Gorgeist or Pumpkinboo? I can't even remember.
That's Gorgeist,
which is which.
for sure. We are trick-or-treating people.
Which.
We are trick-or-treating, and that is great.
Excuse me while I go look up trick-or-treat.
While he's doing that...
I've looked up so much in this episode, man. There is so many things going on that I did not know existed.
So while he's doing that, the team is made up of Tyranitar, Togekiss, Gorgeist, Gastrodon, Arcanine, Durant. So what they're doing is you trick-or-treat your own Tyranitar.
Go on.
You looked up Trick or Treat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you trick or treat your own Tyranitar. You're immune to fighting. It's great.
No. Oh.
You didn't know it. You actually didn't know it did you?
No, I misread it.
Yeah, it makes you ghost.
Yeah, that's sweet.
You're immune to fighting types then.
Which then means it can trick or treat something of theirs, and now Crunch is just going to do 1 billion damage.
Exactly! Yay!
This is alright. I am on board.
You figured it out.
I am on board. This is adorable.
It also makes Snarl super effective out of Arcanine, which is really cool. And Durant, if you teach it Crunch, can also just hit just as hard as Tyranitar.
Actually, it might honestly hit harder.
Yeah, it might.
Durant's really powerful, man.
Yep.
He hits like a freight train and then some.
Moving on to 12th place, we've got kind of another take on a Gyarachu theme, but instead of Gyarados, we're running Lapras. Which actually is super cool because Lapras thunderbolts lightning rods to Raichu, pumps up Raichu. Raichu just lays into everybody. That's a thing that can happen.
That's cute.
But we're also running Togekiss Excadrill. I'm assuming this is probably Mold Breaker Excadrill because there's no sand paired with it. Corviknight as probably a Tailwind speed bulky thing, and then Arcanine as just like another support defensive wall probably.
Yep.
Because this team doesn't need a whole lot of damage between being just super duper bulky like with Lapras and Corviknight and Togekiss and Arcanine. You probably don't need like maximum damage output to do anything in battle. What's next? Hey, look, more Roserade.
Yeah, this time this is pretty close to the top 8 team, right?
The only difference, I think, is just how they're positioned.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is the exact same as the top 8 teams. So I don't have anything more to say about Roserade here.
14th is a Trick Room team running Lapras. Like, this is hard Trick Room running Lapras, too.
Min Speed Lapras. He's going to smash some people.
You joke. My Gigantamax Lapras is Min Speed at the moment.
That's adorable. I might need that from you.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I might need that.
I like the Ferrothorn in this team.
Ferrothorn's another one that, like, beginning of the season I was pretty high on, and the more the season's gone on, the less impressed I've been by it.
Well, when Charizard's running around, yeah, Ferrothorn's dumb. It's why you're going to play this Pokemon that's 4 times weak to Charizard and does nothing in the face of Charizard. But now that you get, like, Aurora Veil off of Lapras, Parting Shot, Intimidate off of your Incineroar, you can Pollen Puff your own Ferrothorn to just keep it healthy over time. It actually does a really good job of just like, here's my Ferrothorn. What you gonna do about it? It's like,
it ain't going away.
You're not OHKOing it through Aurora Veil. You're not doing that.
No.
And it's just like, it just sits here and just kind of stares at you, sets up Leech Seed on both your Mons, makes you swap. Like,
yeah, this is sweet.
15th and 16th are finally like Venusaur style, like Venusaur's in the meta teams. 16th is actually like Trick Room's son, and 15th is like, here's Venusaur to pair with my Incineroar.
I know Trick Room's son is something you worked on there for first couple weeks of Series 3.
Mm-hmm.
What is this doing that was different than what you were doing?
I'm playing Snorlax. I was playing Snorlax over Rhyperior. And I was playing Charizard, so I have a dedicated Sun team and a dedicated Trick Room like team, and then I can hybrid them together. Mm-hmm. This is more, here's my Trick Room. I'm playing Togekiss and Venusaur to supplement my Trick Room. Because I'm playing Torkoal as one of my abusers.
Oh, gotcha. So this is hard Trick Room.
With Venusaur.
Hard Trick Room complemented by Sun, whereas you were playing
Both.
this sweet hybrid. Okay.
Yeah, I was playing both together. That actually worked really well. This one is kind of just like, here's hard Trick Room, and Venusaur just getting dragged along for the ride. The 15th place team I'm actually super interested in. I'm not sure what it's doing. It's like,
well, let's see. We have a couple different things going on here. We have Togekiss, Excadrill, Incineroar, Rotom, Wash, Venusaur, and Conkeldurr. So this might be... Does Conkeldurr get access to Bulldoze?
I believe so.
I know Excadrill does. So it could be Policy Incineroar setting up Sun for your Venusaur then. Because, I mean, Excadrill might as well have priority with Bulldoze.
Conkeldurr does get Bulldoze.
Okay, cool. So I could see them doing that, and then then if you want to continue bulldozing, Rotom is immune, so you don't have to worry about that. Well, kinda. Rotom is not immune to Excadrills.
No, it is not.
Huh.
But it is also Rotom Wash, so it is actually not as bad.
Mm-hmm.
It could be much worse. You could be Rotom.
True. True. So yeah, this is probably Policy Incineroar. Which, if so, this kind of all fits together then, because you then get to trigger Policy, hit them, set up Sun, which then means if they deal with whatever's going on, you then get to bring in Venusaur and sweep them. You get your speed control if you want to Dynamax your Togekiss. You also just have your sweet setup with Togekiss of Follow Me, which we really aren't setting anything up unless Excadrill has Swords Dance or something. I don't really see anything else that would have a setup move.
I would not be surprised if instead of Follow Me, they're running Ally Switch. I would not be surprised.
They're running what? I'm sorry, you cut out.
Running Ally Switch.
Oh, okay. I didn't know Togekiss got that, but I'm not surprised.
I would
its
not be
move pool is insane, so of course it gets it.
Of course, right?
So if they're doing that, then you just get Ally Switch stuff to go on. You have your anti-Sun tech with Venusaur, while also being able to deal with the bulky water types that Excadrill and Incineroar have a problem with. This team actually kind of seems pretty sweet, and I'd be interested in seeing a write-up about it, of what this team is actually doing, to confirm what I'm thinking it does is correct.
Yeah. Going through the rest of this top 32, looking for anything unique. 31st has a Lowland Persian.
Yeah, it gets Parting Shot, man.
Its Parting Shot has Fur Coat. Do you know what Fur Coat does?
I do. Excuse me real quick.
So Fur Coat increases your defense.
Huh.
So you just become this really good defensive wall as a dark type.
It has physical damage. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
Yep. So all you do is just invest in put some into defense, and then the rest into HP and speed. And you're Persian, so you're already fast.
Mm-hmm.
So you go ahead and just grab Parting Shot. You can grab Fake Out if you really want it.
Also gets Fake Tears, which I don't know if that does anything here.
Let's see again. Fake Tears. Lapras hits harder. Rotom hits harder.
Lapras and Rotom.
And Togekiss.
Yeah.
So all those Pokemon hit harder. So probably just Parting Shot, Fake Tears. Could do maybe Foul Play stuff. I'm not sure what you're wanting to be.
I'm gonna say looking through moves here, we have Taunt, Snarl probably not if we have access to Parting Shot. We get Beat Up. Does that do anything for us here? No,
no justified on our team.
Sunny Day, Rain Dance, neither of which really do anything. And then Icy Wind? We get Icy Wind.
Oh, we get Quash.
Weird. Do we get Quash?
We get Quash.
Oh.
So we're just a non-Prankster version of Sableye. But we get Fake Tears and Parting Shot.
This is kind of sweet.
I like this. I like this little immersion.
We're immune to Prankster while also being able to do quote-unquote Prankster things.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like this.
Color me intrigued. This seems sweet.
Anything else you want to touch on from Malmo?
So there's this 32nd place team, which instead of playing Venusaur, we're playing Leafeon.
Someone didn't get the memo. Someone didn't get the... Someone send this person a message. We have Venusaur. You do not have to play Leafeon anymore.
Now hold on. What if I got nothing?
Yeah.
I see no reason to be playing Leafeon in this meta.
Someone used a regular Darmanitan. That is cool.
Interesting.
I don't know why.
That's not in top 32. That's just in general, right?
That's just in general. I don't know why they used it, but they used it.
But it's there. It's a thing that exists.
But yeah, that's Malmo.
It seemed like looking over these teams, it seems like a sweet tournament.
The meta is thriving.
For sure. Lapras wasn't nearly as dominant as I anticipated. Togekiss is still really good. Incineroar wasn't as dominant as I think everyone anticipated. But this seems good.
Yep.
Which I guess moves us into segment 3.
Yep.
So this is where I could talk about Trick Room for a little bit longer.
Yep, a little bit more Trick Room. If you hadn't figured it out, that's like the overwhelming topic of the day is Trick Room.
So, coming back from Collinsville, we decided that our group wanted to have a draft league go on. Originally there was 6 of us. One of them unfortunately had to drop out, so there was 5 of us who ended up drafting. Our first week is this week, where I am going to be playing this pretty sweet team that I've been working on for the last couple of weeks. Of course, PokePaste for all the teams, detailed layouts of the teams that we've talked about today are going to be down in the show notes. So I am playing Sylveon, Tyranitar, Chandelure, Pangoro, Gmax Kingler, and Gmax Butterfree. So there's a lot of minor synergies here that I've kind of picked up on that I really am a big fan of. First we have Butterfree and Kingler together, making it where Kingler will outspeed basically anything if we can get Trick Room, if we get Tailwind up. Also just gets Sleep Powder and Rage Powder, so like Kingler can do his thing without being interrupted. And because we're carrying a Life Orb on Kingler, we also get Pollen Puff to recover it. Mm-hmm. Kingler hits really hard, man.
Oh, I bet.
Especially when you have a Life Orb on it. And
Sheer Force?
Yeah, Sheer Force. We have Brick Break on him, so we can deal with screens if we need to. And because we typically are Dynamaxing Kingler, it pairs really well with Pangoro and Tyranitar to be able to max Knuckle and plus their attack. We also have Chandelure and Pangoro together, so we have a minor Trick Room set here with, like, my Tyranitar is Min Speed, Pangoro is Brave Min Speed, so he has a speed of like 55, I think.
That's well within range for Trick Room.
Yeah, it's pretty low. He's carrying Vest, has Mold Breaker, which is really sweet. Mold Breaker is just awesome. It kind of gets to do the whole Excadrill thing, except in Trick Room instead of in Sand. Earthquake, Brick Break, Darkest Lariat, and Thunder Punch here. it's been pretty sweet. There was a game I had earlier on ladder where I got to 4v1 with people with Pangoro and I won. And then the other minor synergy we have here is Sylveon with Tyranitar, which we kind of talked about earlier, using Pixelate Quick Attack to trigger weakness policy on before Dynamax and then just smashing people. I've had multiple games where between Kingler and triggering our weakness policy, Tyranitar gets to +4, +5 attack and just sweeps everything.
Yeah.
So if I get to do that, like, the team is really cool. I don't really anticipate... I don't know what to anticipate Quentin bringing this week. He has a lot of kind of off-the-wall mods, which is just how Quentin is. That's how he's always been for everything. So I'm not 100% sure what to do. He was talking about thieving off my weakness policy, and I don't know where to go with that, so I'm just going to trigger it before he gets to take it.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea.
But, like, Pangoro has been really sweet in Trick Room. Just being able to, like, with him being moderately slow, it's been really sweet. He actually has a pretty deep move pool as well. If you don't want Mold Breaker, he gets Iron Fist, or his hidden ability is also Scrappy. So, like, he can hit Ghost, which he really doesn't have a problem with anyway.
But what if I need to break my ghosts?
You technically could. Like, if they have, like, Ally Switch on their Dusclops, like, you still get to break screens and punch them anyway. So, it's been pretty sweet. Pangoro has definitely impressed me way more than I actually anticipated. And I think it might just be because people don't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
So this is something I'm going to be working on. I am going to, for sure, record my match this week and upload it to YouTube as well. So if you haven't already, make sure you go follow the YouTube channel. That's also going to be on the show notes. I need to make sure I link that because that's something new starting this week. All of our podcasts are also going to be there, as well as extra content that Carl and I are going to be working on and uploading there as well. So if you want to see draft leagues, my games are going to be on there. You could probably twist Carl's arm and have him record his too, so you get his perspective of everything going on.
Yeah, I'll probably do that. It'll be fine.
All right, twisted your arm. Talk to you into it. So, let's see if we're very quickly going over my draft roster. The other 6 I have that I'm not bringing this week. Let's see. I have Butterfree, Tyranitar, Sylveon, Chandelure, Kingler, Pangoro. And then my other 6 are Excadrill, Aegislash, Shuckle, Alcremie, Raichu, and Meowstic. So it's kind of sweet. I'm kind of all about it. I really want to decorate a Shuckle and, sweep people with it. So
maybe sometime.
I've had it happen to me, and I want to do it to people. So, I think that's all I have for my segment for today. Anything you want to touch on this team before we move on, Carl?
Notably, this is really good against what he's probably getting ready to play against.
You cut out really hard there. I didn't hear you.
Said notably, this is probably going to be really good what he's getting ready to play against, but outside of the draft league, it's probably not that great.
Well, here's hoping, man. Don't crush all my hopes and dreams.
I unfortunately didn't get to draft this team for draft league. I was really close. I hit 4 of the 6 mons for what's been working. This Dracozolt Goodra team that I built like 2 weeks ago, I've been tearing up Showdown. I keep sending clips in personal messages to Carter all the time of just like, here's what Dracozolt gets to do, and just Dracozolt's just 1v4s. Here's Goodra doing something really cool. So Dracozolt and Goodra have been like the highlights of my current team building, and they're in pretty much every team I've been testing here lately.
Well, interesting. This all kind of stems from last week's conversation about how to deal with Lapras. And we recorded that on Thursday, and Friday morning I wake up to a message from Carl saying, I figured out how to beat Lapras. I'm like, all right, what do you got for me? He's like, Dracozolt can one-shot it.
Dracozolt like, OHKO's G-Max Lapras in like, G-Max form.
I'm like, hold on. I need to process everything you just said. He's like, yeah, it does. So he ran a lot of calcs over the last week or so, has played a lot of games with this team. In the event we go to the MSS on the 28th up at Game Cafe, this is probably what he's going to play, if not both of us. Yep. So Carl might have to twist my arm and talk me into playing it.
Well, let's just say that I can beat Sun, I can beat Sand, I can beat Lapras. I hit the 3 major nails on the head. I can play through Trick Room. So it's just like it hits all these big meta points. So it's just like a little bit weird. So what it does is we're playing Dracozolt, Clefairy, Alolan Ninetales, Goodra, Melodic, and Incineroar. So the whole plan of what spawned it was I was watching A-Drive's team building video and he was talking about using Gravity and Dracozolt. And I'm just like, Gravity seems like an underused mechanic. Let's just see what we can do. So we grabbed Clefairy. Clefairy plus Eviolite plus Friend Guard is like...
It prevents a lot of deaths.
Oh yeah, if your Pokemon gets OHKO'd before, it will not get OHKO'd now. Clefairy is probably the best Gravity user for this team, unless you want to just like swap for like an Orbeetle G-Max with G-Max Gravitas and have psychic damage and whatnot. But
you could also throw on Gothitelle, which then gets Shadow Tag, so they can't switch out too.
Gothitelle doesn't get Gravity.
Does it not?
Nope. The Gravity for Gothitelle comes from Dusclops. Dusclops is the Gravity user. Gothitelle is the Hypnosis user. So I tried doing that with Clefairy and my Ninetales and my Melodic. So Ninetales also gets Hypnosis, notably. I guess to set up Aurora Veil is very, very fast. And with Hail up, you just get to spam Blizzard all the time.
So I'm on Serbia, and I'm looking at mons that get access to Gravity. Did you know that Ferrothorn can get Gravity?
Yep. So can Gigalith.
I don't know why.
I don't know. Egg moves. Cause egg moves. But
basically.
So Ninetales Clefairy is a very common lead for me. I set up Gravity and Aurora Veil and let my opponent just do whatever. Clefairy also has Follow Me and Helping Hand if my Pokemon's damage isn't quite enough, or if I need to redirect damage to Clefairy, I can. Thankfully, Clefairy gets Moonblast. I don't have to deal with just Dazzling Gleam anymore. That's like the one thing that drives me nuts about Togekiss. Is Togekiss doesn't get Moonblast.
Yeah.
That's like the one thing that drives me nuts.
It still hits for a lot.
Yeah. Ninetales has Protect and Blizzard, just normal Ninetales things for Alolan forms. My Melodic is my other Hypnosis user when Aurora Veil isn't probably that good. Melodic's also speed control with Icy Wind because I don't have a good way to set up, I don't have a way to set Tailwind or Trick Room. I'm kind of in the middle, so throwing Icy Winds out all the time helps me keep my opponent's speed down, so Dracozolt and Goodra can just do what they do best. I also have Muddy Waters, just lowers accuracy, means I don't get hit as often, and then Protect just to round out the set. Incineroar is the last spot where we are a very bulky Incineroar designed to break screens and just flip in and out if I need to, and Flare Blitz every once in a while. We are very specially defensive. We're holding since our Assault Vest is on our Goodra, we're holding Figgy Berry. So it's just I don't really need you to deal a whole lot of damage right now. I just need you to take a couple hits, lower the damage output, and Goodra and Dracozolt will take care of the rest from there. So with Snarl and Parting Shot, I can pretty much guarantee that no one is OHKOing Goodra or Dracozolt anytime soon. the meat and potatoes of this, and why I like this so much, is I can lead Ninetales Gudra and just double blizzard people.
She's like, all right, you're being annoying. Go away.
Just boom. Here's blizzard from a almost 200 special attack Gudra. What are you gonna do about that? The answer is nothing. You don't get to do anything. Gudra is very bulky just in general. I gave him 64 speed because, like I said, we're about mid-speed tier, and I don't want to probably, like, go into, like, I could be 0 speed and have a play around Trick Room, but I'd rather just, like, play through it with Incineroar, Milotic, and Clefairy. We're doing Power Whip because Sap Sipper is a thing, and Venusaur loves to sleep powder us, and then we sit there and laugh and hit him with a flamethrower on the back end. And we're not running a Dragon type move because we're running Blizzard. We don't need it all that much. And then we're running Sludge Bomb as coverage for Togekiss. Dracozolt, on the other hand, is just straight up, I'm going to kill Lapras every time I see a Lapras with Bolt Beak. I will force switches with Dragon Tail if I need to, and I have high horsepower because I don't have ground type coverage. Also running Protect because people like to double into Dracozolt, and so it's just like throw Gravity out and Protect, and then just sit there and watch them do stuff.
Like, yeah, what if instead you didn't kill me?
Yeah. But that's the team. It's cheeky. It's Gravity. It's fun to play with. I'm working on getting a rental code made up for people in game if they want to try and test it out on ladder. I haven't personally played it on ladder. Most of my matches have been showdown, where Lapras and Sun are like everywhere. So this team's been doing really good against those. One of the matches I played against Soak Manectric.
Huh.
I shared it. I clipped it and I sent it to you. So he tried to soak all my Pokemon and just kill them with boosted Manectric, and I just would keep swapping them out, keep setting up snow to change from Rain Dance. I eventually got it to the point where I could just I got to kill the Manectric and he just had no damage left. But I highly recommend this team if you're just looking for something that's not Sun, Sand, or Trick Room. This does a real good job of just being fun to play while also being somewhat competitive. A lot of the synergies are kind of nuanced. Your opponents may not know what's going on, which that's good. That's good for you. So
it seems you and I have talked about this team quite a lot over the last several weeks. It seems really powerful. Being able to consistently answer Lapras with with Dracozolt is just A+. And being able to control the weather to your advantage while setting up your advantage through various means, be that Aurora Veil or Friend Guard or, et cetera, et cetera. It's just this team does a lot to be able to mitigate what your opponent is trying to do while setting up your own advantage all at the same time.
Yep. If there was a control team out there, this does a very good job of being a control team.
For sure. This fits that category of, all right, I am going to try to prevent you from doing anything you are trying to set up.
Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about? I got one thing that I want to touch on before we go.
Sure, let's touch on it, man. I got a whole lot of nothing.
So, try not to be super duper political here. Kind of just more as informing. COVID-19 is a thing.
Wash your hands, people.
Because of this, a lot of things are getting canceled. Pokemon events, Magic events, sporting events. Couldn't tell you how much I was hearing. It was oh, this got canceled. Oh, that got canceled. So now I don't need this day off at work. I know a lot of concerts are getting canceled. I think Kansas City's banned any gathering over 1,000 people up until the end of April.
I'd be surprised if they don't lower that number, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I know Kansas City today, the mayor of Kansas City made a public announcement yesterday saying they are in a state of emergency. The governor of Missouri put out one today. I believe President Trump also put out one.
Finally.
for nationwide, which not getting into that too much, but this is a big deal and it needs to actually be handled. So for those of you who are going to continue traveling for various events, whatever it may be, please be cautious. Please be aware.
Yep.
This is a very serious ordeal and it needs to properly be handled. Luckily, Pokemon, like Play Pokemon, has put out an article as well saying, "Hey, here's what's going on. Here's what's going on." Toronto Regionals was canceled. Charlotte Regionals for next weekend is canceled. Several.
There's I think it's all the way up until about mid-April. Most of those events have been canceled. Now it's all the big regionals where they're expecting like 1,000 people or more. I believe like if you're going to like our guy in Singapore who's going to an MSS in Singapore, that one didn't get canceled, but they have very strict hygiene like rules that you have to follow if you're going to go play. So just like be aware, be safe, wash your hands. It's not that hard. If you go to sneeze, don't sneeze on people. We shouldn't have to talk about this much, but it's just like I want everyone to be informed. It's nice to just inform people. It's a real big deal. Yeah, be good people.
Yeah, it's a very serious ordeal, and for the longest time, I was of the party of, this is just the flu. We don't really need to worry about it. And the longer time has gone on, it's just like, all right, people are freaking out about this because it's a big ordeal, and needs to properly be handled. So, again, be cautious, be aware, be safe.
Yep.
Anything else you want to touch on this week, man?
No, aside from that somber moment there, we got to make sure that we get all of our shout outs to everyone who listened. This is like we were like overjoyed seeing the first week's like total listens.
For sure. So for those who don't know, Carl and I ran a Magic podcast for just over a year. And our average viewer, or like our average audience sizes never really hit double digits. I don't think we ever had. I couldn't tell you for sure, but I don't think we ever had a video, a podcast in a week hit more than probably 50 people. This last week with Pokemon has been fantastic. I believe as of Friday when we're recording this, I think we have close to 150 listens to on our first episode. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's just fantastic. The Pokemon community is fantastic. So please, if you feel ever so want to, if you want to reach out to us, there's a multitude of ways to do so. All of which we cover at the end of every podcast, all of which are down in the show notes. So if you ever feel like you want to reach out to us, you have a way of doing so. And we would love the feedback of what's going on and what you want to hear and how we can improve and all of that. So we're here for the foreseeable future, and I could not be more excited, man.
Agreed. Big thanks to everyone who's just like
for sure
on Reddit, in the Discord. This is great.
For sure. That being said, we calling it a day?
Get us out of here.
All right. As always, you can find us on Twitter at LR Lessons, myself at CardinalNoble25, Carl at musical_33. We have a Discord server. That link is down in the show notes as well. Please come join it. It is great. Our community is great. I know in the last week or so, we've had a handful of people come in and join. We would love to improve that number even more. Starting this episode, we are uploading to YouTube as well. We had a couple different requests for that. So if you haven't already done so, if you're not listening to this on YouTube, our YouTube link is down in the show notes. Hit that subscribe button, hit the bell so you get hit the bell icon so you get notifications when we have videos go live and with what. Past that, we also, both Carl and I are both on Twitch. That information is also down in the show notes. Questions, comments, concerns, past that, you can always find us our email down in the show notes as well. So if you have a way of wanting to reach out to us, we have a way of accepting it.
Yep.
Anything you want to touch on before we call it a day, Carl?
Get us more teams. I like looking at people's teams. I like brewing. I like doing all that stuff.
I'm real excited for Team of the Week moving forward. So as long as we keep getting submissions, we're gonna keep doing it. Hell, we might have to figure out a prize for people who actually get a submission.
Yeah.
We can talk about that later.
Yeah.
So, past that, everybody, have a good week. We will be back next week with who knows what. We'll figure it out then. Have a good one. Peace.